Do you want the easiest to make, grit-free, bold cup of single-serve coffee that you can get? You're going to want to check out our video today about the Clever Dripper. Hi everyone, I'm Brian with FrenchPressCoffee.com. Thanks as always for tuning in here on our YouTube channel. Now today we're talking about the Clever Dripper. And what is the Clever Dripper? It is a really cool, very clever, it's in the name, way to make a cup of coffee that is going to be grit-free and going to give you very little sediment and a really bold cup of coffee all at once. And this is also a single serve option that is a little bit new, and I think definitely, as it's in the name, very clever. Let's talk about what is in the box. Now I have two Clever Drippers here. I have the large Clever Dripper that allows you to make about 2 cups of coffee, so this is good for you and a friend or a loved one or etc. And then I have the Clever S, which is the small version of the Clever Dripper. That one's going to make pretty much a single cup of coffee. Now, both of these are going to be very simple with the number of things that you're going to find in the box. The large Clever is going to come with your lid, your dripper, and a coaster, and it's cleverly marked coaster, which is great. And the small Clever Dripper, the Clever S, is going to give you your lid and the Clever S. Now the lid is going to double as your coaster as well. You probably don't have to make use of the coaster, but when we talk about how it is that you use the Clever Dripper, you'll probably want to put something underneath it while you're brewing, just in case. However, the design of it is probably going to make it so that you don't necessarily need a coaster. Let's talk about the materials that make up the Clever Dripper. Both of the Clever Drippers are made of plastic. That plastic is Eastman Triton BPA-free plastic. So it's not going to, of course, give you that weird plastic taste that we don't like in our coffee or anything like that. But it is not going to be microwave safe or dishwasher safe. So don't go putting this in the microwave or the dishwasher, guys, because that won't do you any good. That would not be very clever. Other than that, both of them are made completely of plastic, and there's a little bit of silicone as well, and I'll talk about where that is in just a moment. And talking about the design, let's talk about the filtration that you're going to use with the Clever Dripper. It's actually very straightforward. You're going to use number 4 filters, cone filters, with the large Clever Dripper, and you'll use number 2 filters with the Clever S, the small Clever Dripper. And there's a number of these filters available. We've got some Malikas here. We also have these unbleached filters from Beyond Gourmet. You can use most any cone filter that you would like, but if you want to get some filters to use with your Clever Dripper, go to FrenchPressCoffee.com. The measurements on the Clever Dripper are very straightforward. With the large Clever Dripper, you're going to be looking at just about 6 inches tall by just about 5 inches in diameter. And with the Clever S, you're looking at about 5 inches tall by about 4.5 inches in diameter. So not going to take up too much space, very easy to use as a result. And color of the Clever Dripper, you're going to find them only in this clear color as of the making of this video. There are also metal filters that you can use with the Clever Dripper, but we haven't tried those, and so we're not going to talk about those right now because, of course, we like to try out what it is that we use here at FrenchPressCoffee.com. Pricing is super easy. You're looking at $18 for the Clever S and $22 for the large Clever Dripper. Brew capacities on the Clever Drippers. With the Clever Dripper S, the stated amount of coffee that you can make is about 10 ounces, but we found that it's more about 8 ounces. And so, you know, your mileage may vary, but we found it to be a little bit lower than the 10-ounce range. The large Clever Dripper, you're looking at up to about 16 ounces, might be a little lower than that, depending on how it is that you brew. Brew Flexibility with the Clever Drippers. You're not really going to be making a whole lot else other than coffee with your Clever Dripper. You can definitely make tea, and it's going to make a solid cup of tea, but when you come right down to it, these are meant for coffee. You're not going to be making iced drinks or many specialty drinks. This is made to make a really great cup of coffee. And talking about filtered versus unfiltered coffee with the Clever Drippers, the flavor from a Clever dripper is going to be somewhere just about in the middle between a French press and drip style coffee. It's going to be bold like French press, but clean like drip style coffee. And the reason for that is because it uses full immersion to make your coffee. And that means that all of your coffee is going to be melded with water when you are brewing, which means that all of your coffee is getting saturated, you're getting all of that flavor. But when you finish your brew with the Clever dripper, you get that same effect as you would with a drip style coffee maker because you're using a paper filter to filter the coffee out. That cuts down on coffee oil, cuts down on grit, sediment, and etc. But you still get that bold flavor that you're used to with a French press, but of course without grit, sediment, and etc. Cleaning, maintenance, and durability with the Clever drippers. Pretty straightforward to clean the Clever dripper. Keep it clean. That's one of the maintenance tips. Cleaning it is actually very simple. The only thing you're going to need to do is to press the dripper part out from the bottom of the Clever dripper. And this just separates, and this is the silicone that I was talking about earlier. This is the only other material on the Clever dripper, is the silicone that allows you to attach that special release on the bottom of the Clever dripper. This makes sure that when you are brewing, you're not going to have any coffee coming out from underneath it, but when you set it down in order to brew, all of your coffee is going to come down from the bottom of it, and then your cleanup is simply empty out your grounds, run it under some water, maybe clean out that latch on the bottom, and you're good to go. And as for durability, well, we haven't been able to spend a ton of time with the Clever dripper, but everything that we're reading, everything we're seeing from fans, and really in our own usage, is that it's completely durable. As long as you take care of it, and as I say, don't toss it in the microwave or the dishwasher, I think it's going to last you for quite some time. Let's talk about pros and cons in our bottom line with the Clever dripper. So the pros, there's definitely many of them. One of them is going to be the fact that in order to be able to brew a really great cup of coffee, it's really important that you measure the amount of coffee that you're using to brew. To do that with the Clever dripper, all that you would need to do would be, of course, have a scale, add your filter, and measure your coffee. You can weigh it directly on your scale. Then you can add your water, and then you can allow it to brew. And if you have a scale with a timer, you can keep an eye on how long it's been brewing, and then when you're done, simply set the Clever dripper down on top of your mug, dispense your coffee, and boom, you're done. So the beauty of this is that you can do the entire process on the scale without any other steps required. The Clever dripper is going to give you a full-bodied cup of coffee, and it's going to give you that because it uses the full immersion of your coffee, which is going to give you all of that flavor without the grit and without the sediment. The Clever dripper is also quite affordable. It's very lightweight. It's great for travel, real easy to throw in a bag because, again, it's not too unruly and large. And it's really great for single serve coffee because, again, if you're just making a cup for yourself, maybe a cup for yourself and a loved one, you can still get a really good cup of coffee, and it's single serve ease. You can clean up very simply and then get on with your day. The filter options are extremely affordable and very easy to find, and of course, if you want to get some, go to FrenchPressCoffee.com. There's also not a lot of time that you need to invest in getting a good cup of coffee from the Clever dripper, and the reason for that is that in comparison to a standard pour-over coffee maker where you need to set that on top of a mug, pour your hot water very slowly, take your time, and etc. With the Clever dripper, all you need to do is, of course, add your water to your coffee, let it sit, brew, and then dispense your coffee down and into your mug, and you're done. So you don't really have to think about this very much, and you're still going to get a great cup of coffee. It's also a really forgiving coffee brewer in the long run. Let's say you don't have a great coffee grinder at home, and not everyone does. You don't have to worry about your grind being perfect with the Clever dripper, which is something that you generally have to keep in mind with a French press. You need your grind to be really spot on. It doesn't have to be perfect with the Clever dripper. It's very forgiving. It's still going to give you a great cup of coffee, even if you don't have that perfect grinder at home. And as for the cons with the Clever dripper, well, there's not a whole bunch of them, but one of the biggest ones is probably going to be that it is a single serve option. So if you maybe don't want a single serve or a small serving option for coffee, you want to be able to make a lot more, Clever dripper might not necessarily be for you, but again, it can give you a great single serve cup of coffee. Its brew flexibility is obviously not incredibly broad. You're basically going to make coffee and tea with the Clever Dripper. You're not going to be making cold drinks and etc. But I don't think that that's going to matter to some folks because, again, it's made for making a cup of coffee and just a really good cup of coffee. And finally, for folks who maybe aren't crazy about plastic, and remember the plastic is BPA free, but if you don't want something that's completely made of plastic, that might be a turnoff for some folks out there. Now, there are other drippers that follow roughly the same design as the Clever Dripper out there that are made of porcelain, and you might want to seek those out if you are someone who's not too crazy about plastic and, using that in your brew process as well. And there you have it, guys. That is the Clever Dripper, and it is a really very impressive, I think, full immersion coffee brewer. If you're looking for something that's going to give you single serve ease, a bold cup of coffee, and a cup of coffee that's going to be grit and sediment free, but still give you a little bit of what you're used to with drip coffee. If you're trying to get just right down the middle between French press and drip, I think that the Clever Dripper is probably going to be the coffee accessory for you. Now, as always, if you guys have questions, comments, if we've missed anything, if you want to know more, make sure to go to FrenchPressCoffee.com, leave a comment in the comment section of this video, and of course, make sure to check out all of our other coffee videos here at FrenchPressCoffee.com. As always, everyone, I'm Brian with FrenchPressCoffee.com. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, take care.
Well, I hope you liked that highly caffeinated video, and if so, go ahead and give us a like, and please subscribe to our channel. And if you do, I'll give you a great coffee quote. So go ahead, I'll wait. I'm gonna eat one of these candies. They're pretty good. Go on. Oh, thank you so much. All right, well, now for your coffee quote. Don't laugh at the coffee. Someday you too will be old and weak.